Welcome back to the channel. No time for an intro. We have so much to talk about. Today we are here to talk about the error cards in Fortnite Trading Cards. They range from human error all the way to machine malfunction. Many collectors get extremely up in arms about classifying something as an error that falls under the category of a qualifier. If you are not up to speed on qualifiers, do not worry, I have you completely covered. Errors come in many different styles, some more appealing than others, and everyone is entitled to their own opinion. Errors can range from one of ones to batches of cards to every single card in an entire set. Now, before we jump in, I want to stir the pot just a little bit. Truth be told, any deviation whatsoever from the intended design is technically an error. The English language doesn't really care about your feelings. Now, with that being said, PSA and BGS and SGC, they all have their own take on the matter. So let's discuss their approach and why it is actually needed. PSA has what is called qualifiers. All these are labels, and they're actually there to help the customer get better grades when they have certain issues. If PSA determines that that deviation from the intended design reduces the overall appeal of the card, they then give it a qualifier. That card would then be labeled as off-centered or miscut, print defect, out of focus, marks, or stains. Now, in July 2021, PSA actually changed their policy for the better. It was up to the customer to decide if they wanted the qualifier on their graded card. But now you no longer have a choice. But they have actually addressed the topic. PSA will now give you a qualifier only if it's in your best interest. To better explain, if you submit a card that is extremely off-centered without a qualifier, the numerical grade of this card would probably be around a PSA 5 or a PSA 6. Now, if that same card was in perfect condition and it was extremely off-centered, PSA will actually upgrade that card to a PSA 9, tag it with a qualifier, and call it off-centered, which is actually very considerate and probably boosted your card's value by a significant margin. Now, if your card is only slightly off-centered, and the numerical grade would be a PSA 9 without any qualifiers, PSA will not put the qualifier on your card because having a PSA 9 is better than having a PSA 9 OC or some other qualifier. So shout out to PSA for looking out for its people. Now, obviously, if you spill your coffee on your Peely Crystal Shard, no one's going to magically spend $100,000 because it's now an error because you stained it. So there had to have been a line drawn somewhere. It gets a little gray when we talk about off-centered and miscuts. One, these two get confused, and to break it down absolutely simply, off-centered just means the card shifted in one direction or the other, but the entire card is still visible. And a miscut would be when the off-centering is so bad that it is either missing parts of the card or it includes another portion of another card. Some different types of errors vary from misspellings, missing nomenclature, failed prints, double printing, color variances, large miscuts, misalignments, missing fronts or missing backs, wrong front or wrong backs, missing foil or foil in the wrong location, cut flaws, wrong names, layering issues, and truly the list can go on probably forever because as newer technology comes into play, there will be different types of errors. When the trading cards are broken down into multiple processes, it always increases the chance of an error occurring. Sometimes cards are printed with the front and back completely separate, and then they are glued later. And some cards get stamped or foiled at a later point in time. So there leaves a lot of opportunity for errors. There's also low ink issues or wrong color issues, lots of different avenues. So with Fortnite trading cards, many of these flaws obviously are very possible. Whether it is something desirable is entirely up to the community or yourself. I'm not here to say what's worth the most. This is mostly informational. The rest is up for you to decide. At the end of the video, I would love for you guys to comment on your favorite errors. This is where the value really comes from, the community. With the basics covered, let's get into some Fortnite errors. First up, we have too much gloss. A second wave of Series 2 a few months into the release came with a different finish entirely. What was noticed was that Epic cards had a much greater sheen or a thicker lacquer, making them extremely high gloss. Panini may have upgraded their machines or slightly increase the amount of lacquer that they use in their chemical processes, therefore giving them a high gloss shine. Whether or not it was meant to be noticed, it didn't take long for the community to notice, especially when you open a pack and you think it's a hollow foil and it's just a base. Next up, this one rubs people a little bit wrong. A lot of people do not like miscuts and they don't consider them errors. Occasionally, there are some miscuts that are actually quite intriguing. Whether you want to classify them as an error or not, that's up to you. But for today's purpose, we're still going to at least discuss them because they do have some aesthetics that are actually quite pleasing. Miscuts cannot be gem mint no matter what, no matter how clean they are. Next on our list, we have what I call the Fortnite Eclipse. We have figured out this is actually an error on the designers. Somebody must have been working before they had their coffee over at Panini because 7 different characters all managed to get through the checking process with the Fortnite logo covered. The reason we believe this is an error is because if you look at number 137 lace, you will notice that the Fortnite logo is actually layered on top, vice underneath. And Shiver, Ragsy, Kane, Big Chuggus, 8-Ball, Willow, and Wrath all have their characters over the Fortnite logo. So either all 7 of those are an error or lace is an error. Now, me personally, I believe the Fortnite logo was meant to be layered over top of the character. Now, this is a complete set-wide error, so I don't believe there's any value to it, but it is a great observation, and you probably won't look at these cards the same anymore. Next, we have the ink blot. Panini's printing press is not perfect by any means, and one of the more notable errors from Season 1 is the Far Out Man number 211 ink blot. The ink blot occurs right on the number 211. However, this is also classified as a qualifier as well. This would be known as a print defect. It would fall into the same category as excessive print lines, but nonetheless, people will definitely pay a little extra to collect these, so be careful selling it for 99 cents. Another one with a similar spot is Sparkle Specialist number 236 base in Series 1. Now in Series 2, there are some pretty cool ink blot errors that have came to light. On the hollow foil of Burial Threat, occasionally there is an ink blot on the middle of his shirt. As you can see here in the PSA 10 version, there is no ink blot whatsoever, but in multiple copies they have came out with this maroon or almost like a yellowing ink blot. I do think this is going to be one of those collectible items simply because it's not on every single card and there's probably pretty few of them overall in the whole entire set. The next error or defect is the indentions that come from Fortnite from the Panini factory. Now, these I will go ahead and say do not aid the value of your card. If they have an indentation that looks like a fingernail, it wouldn't grade well, it doesn't look good, but they are a thing. Basically give all these to all the kids and let them have some cool cards. In 25 years, they all come back with, 50K to drop on a cracked ice drift, Number 106, Wolf Optichrome from Series 2 has stray marks on the bottom left of the card and the back middle right of the card. Now, I am sorry for the foreign collectors. This is a USA only, Optichrome only error card. Now, I'm not certain if it's on every single one in the entire set, but I have not seen one that does not have the mark. All in all, it's a pretty cool error. I think aesthetically it looks pretty good. Next, we have the multi-card error, or wrong front, wrong back. Some of these are the most interesting that I've seen in the community. Pokemon cards use some of the most advanced card machines to date, so they don't have to deal with nearly as many errors in the most recent sets unless somebody messed up on the digital end. Now, I was never too certain on the actual process in which they make Fortnite cards. I wasn't sure if they printed both sides separate and then glued them to a cardstock. Some older videos from Panini would suggest the 2 sides are printed together, but the full process was never shown. But then a member of our group actually received some cards that look like this, and they clearly separated right down the middle. So with that being said, there's a couple ways that cards could end up like this. Either someone messed up digitally, or someone fed the wrong sheets to glue them together. Either way, they make for some pretty damn cool cards. Next, we have some really cool ones. Every now and then, multiple characters or multiple skins get printed on the exact same card. And it really hurts my brain trying to figure out how this could even happen, unless it was intentional. Pretty cool, right? Next, we have one of the biggest errors from the USA set. Here we have a Yule Trooper with the Optichrome outline in the wrong spot. It's a very interesting error. Now, I already have a bunch of love for Yule Trooper, but this just makes me love this card even more. Super cool, and I really appreciate you submitting this card for us to display. Check your Optichromes, guys, because if there's one error, there's a chance there's others. But like I said, there are occasions where there are some one-of-ones. Occasionally, some packages are ran through their sealing process, and the crimp process actually comes either too soon or too late, and the trading cards actually get pinned when the package is crimped. Now, PSA would eat you up if you submitted this, but they are still pretty cool to look at. But let's keep going. Next, we have some faults with the Optichrome process. Occasionally, you'll have an Optichrome that actually has a laser effect, parallel lines that run diagonal, like this Bunker Jonesy. Also, occasionally, you'll find what I call the teardrops. Coolest little subtlety. Now, I know I have a couple holos with this. I don't remember on which cards. Is on holo foils, there'll just randomly be a teardrop in the foil. Next, we have a Peely Brazil print where the Fortnite is actually double printed, or something went wrong where it's no longer crystal clear, and it's kind of trippy, and it's a pretty cool find. I'm not exactly sure how this could occur, but it is a pretty unique error, especially being on a Peely card. And I thought this one was pretty cool because it comes from the Stepdad collection, Reloaded, and we have a wrong back as well as some color issues. It's a pretty cool, interesting error. If you're a Reloaded collector, that may be one you want to look out for. Now, I may have to do a part 2 to this error series because there really is a ton of errors. And if I didn't get to upload one that you submitted to me, I do apologize, and I'll try to get you on the next time. Once the community gets a good grasp of all the error cards and we see how well they perform, I may do like a top 5 or top 10 error cards. But for now, there's just not enough knowledge out there to really make that call. Shoot me a like, subscribe, ring the bell. You guys are awesome. I'll really appreciate it. Until next time, guys, take care.